I had a girlfriend who was on the pill, and so the fact that we didn't have condoms meant, she was on birth control.
Yeah, I can see that.
So this girl never mentioned birth control, so I assumed, well, she must be on birth control. Well, what I assumed erroneously, and one shouldn't make that assumption, because as it turns out, she was opposed to birth control. She was opposed to abortion. She would never consider getting an abortion. And long story short, she went on to have 7 other children with the man she married.
Oh.
But she broke up with a boyfriend who she was trying to convince this was his daughter. And so from the time that my daughter was about 6 months old or so, she and I have had a relationship. She's always known that I'm her dad.
Mm-hmm.
But it did sort of shape my life.
Yeah, I wonder.
There I was, finishing college with a secret child. It sort of propelled me towards growing up.
What was that like for you? Like, was it very anxiety-producing? Did you not want your family? Does your family know now?
Oh yeah, they know now. Part of my divorce, that period when I was trying to finish school and knowing that I had a daughter on the way, and then I had a daughter that I hadn't seen, was just terribly oppressive. Like, I just felt a real shame about it, and not so much. I mean, maybe anxieties, but like scared and hurt, and like there was no one I could talk to about it.
Sure.
And once I started dating my future ex-wife, on our first date, I said, well, our first date was a threesome.
She must have had some idea who she was dealing with.
Yeah. I thought she was there to see my friend, but actually at my house to see my friend, because this boy was sleeping in my bed most days, and I thought she was having a date with him, but in fact she had told him she was interested in seeing me. Right. So we have a threesome, and then it's we're up all night having sex, me and her. And I tell her, look, I'd like this, but you need to know 2 things about me. 1, I'm bisexual, and 2, I have a daughter I've never met. And she's like, Jefferson, everybody knows you're bisexual. That is not a secret. But the thing with your daughter, you got to work on that.
So your ex-wife really made a big difference in that relationship and your perspective on it.
It was one of the things that brought me and my future ex-wife together.
That's a great part of your story.
Yeah.
That you were able to find somebody who guided you through that in a really sensitive way, who had the experience.
Even more so, when my daughter's mother was breaking up with a boyfriend that she was trying to convince was the father, she had met somebody new. Well, they ran away together, and the boyfriend sued for custody of my daughter. And so we went to court. I showed up in court and made it plain that this is biologically my daughter.
Right.
And this was a shock to the former boyfriend.
Right, because she had like this whole black mask thing, right?
This is my genetic black mask. But it was my future ex-wife who paid for the attorney for my daughter's mother.
Oh, wow.
So that we could win that custody case. So
my future ex-wife.
My future opponent in custody cases, my ex-wife and I have now been involved in 3 different custody cases. This was our first, and then second was at the time of our divorce, when she sought full custody and didn't get it. And then 2 years ago when she discovered my blog and used it as the basis to sue for custody of the kids.
Well.
And didn't get it.
I would imagine you would be a damn good father.
I'm a darn good father.
Yeah, and does she think that, or like, what is that?
It's
just complicated, right?
It's complicated. I mean, she says up front, she thinks I'm a great father, and the kids are thriving. We have great kids who are healthy and happy and love their mom and love their dad, and yet she has this need to get me. You know what I mean? It's like.
She's just like competitive.
It's a very unpleasant, vindictive thing. When she divorced me, she made it protracted and expensive and unpleasant and sought full custody when there was no cause for it. And
she made it a lot worse.
She made it a lot worse.
Right.
And cost each of us about $8,000. And then when she discovered my blog, the basis for her seeking custody of our kids was entirely my sexuality. She alleged that she had no idea that I was bisexual, which is, I remember our first date was a threesome, which, by the way, I videotaped. So I had a videotape of us having a threesome,
wow.
And there she is in court claiming she had no idea I was bisexual. And that the blog suggested that my sexuality put our kids at risk, which of course it doesn't. My sexuality does not put the kids at risk, and I'm not writing that, so we had to make all of that up. And this time, when she tried to take custody of the kids, it cost her a year, a lot of anxiety for the kids,
Yeah,
certainly a lot of anxiety for me, and I'm sure for her. And
It's been
she
awful.
blew $200,000
It's been
on it.
awful.
Vindictive is bad, and rich and vindictive is a bad combination. 'Cause
Is she from a wealthy family?
she has resources.
Yeah.
And when she started the last custody case,
It's the worst.
she couldn't anticipate that the economy would crash. So we're in the middle of a custody case, and her family's bleeding money in all directions.
It does sound a lot like she's trying to get back at her dad. But I can see in a certain way where there must have been some sense of betrayal. Not that you were necessarily betraying her or doing anything to her, but I can imagine her having a sense of betrayal when she found out about your blog, right? 'Cause she probably thought she knew you, and then she didn't.
She may have felt some sense of betrayal, but her overriding sense was one of excitement, because she felt like she had something she could use to get.
Because she's generally like, she wants to win. Is
Yeah.
she from a family of lawyers or something?
No,
Your life sounds, I mean, it's complicated, right? I mean,
I can see that I have lived an interesting life.
do you have conflicts? Do you feel like people are judging you? Like, what kind of feelings does that bring up for you?
Well, I think it's that kind of walked me into being a sex educator, because my sex life, which I will concede is pretty darn interesting, is really just my sex life, and the more I write about it, the more people write about their lives, the more people talk about their lives and educate others, the less unusual it all seems, or the less frightening it seems to other people. It's astonishing to me how the idea of gay marriage has taken off in the last decade, that most Americans think it's an okay idea. The reason for that happening is because in the preceding couple of decades, gay people came out. And so,
Right.
so everybody knows somebody who's gay, or they have a cousin who's
Sure.
gay, or they've met someone who's
Sure.
gay, or they watch Ellen.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem so scary and strange and alien to heterosexuals. And so there's a kind of a laissez-faire following, like, why not allow them to marry?
I guess on the surface, without the mask, you seem like a very conventional person. Like you present a very conventional image.
Right.
But then the reality of you is the opposite, which a lot of people would find very upsetting.
In the vanilla world, in the world outside, I don't necessarily feel the need to, bring in converts or anything. There's no more reason for me to talk about my sex life with someone with whom I have a professional relationship than it would be if I were married.
Right.
It's my intimate life, it's my private life. It just happens to
Right.
be a public one. These days with the blog, honestly, it's kind of great, because for people who read my blog and don't know me or have never met me, that's really the part they know only. Is a lot of the stuff that's inside that I don't necessarily need to share with my dentist.
So we're going to have to go, but did you have any conflict or anything? I mean, was there anything, I feel like we kind of talked, was there any problem you needed solving or anything?
No, nothing that comes to mind.
No? Okay, because I usually give everybody a prescription. I'm really, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say, I'm just going to say thank you for the education, because I've learned a lot that I can use in my practice.